I also read a lot about the role of women in the startup ecosystem and the problems and challenges which they face in the startup ecosystem while raising investments. I know that Conaturals has raised investment in the past few years, and the current reports, as far as says that only 1.4% women in Pakistan got funding in last 7 years, as compared to men. What is your experience, and how you were able to raise that investment?
So, in the context of what you just said, I feel that Pakistan, from a worldwide context, and women in the workplace, is still very far behind from world standards. Even if we look at the region, a really good example is Bangladesh. One of their reasons for growing so rapidly and their GDP per capita growing so rapidly is bringing women into the workspace. So already that is really low in Pakistan. So obviously, if women are not coming into the workspace, you'll also have lesser women entrepreneurs. That's the first thing. The second thing is generally the gender gap for, let's say, specifically startup funding or VC funding or PE funding, there is a gap between men and women worldwide. And this is something that everyone has been talking about for the last 10 years. Even at leadership roles, so women, there's a huge gap for women on boards, women in leadership roles. And if you look at the big companies, they've spent a lot of time and investment worldwide. And I'm not just talking about the context of Pakistan. So obviously, and unfortunately in Pakistan, we feel that that gap is much wider. The good thing is that everyone is talking about it now. And I think that these conversations have to be had so that we can work towards them. And there are a lot of companies. I've been on a few startup conferences recently that some of the big banks, some of the big multinational companies, even some really, I would say, local, homegrown businesses are really working on getting more female representation within their company as well as in leadership positions. So that is awesome. In terms of capital investment, generally Pakistan has been, like, the startup scene is very nascent. It's very new. If we look at it, the real kind of buzz or pulse has come in the last 5-6 years. And we saw a really good pulse actually in COVID, which was quite heartening, because it's like, wow, puri duniya mar rahi hai COVID mein, band karke baithiye, but at least there was that pulse, right? And I feel that it's going to take its journey. Generally speaking, if we look at the SME sector, I've worked with USAID. We also got 2 grants from USAID, by the way. They were amazing enough to support us. Even when we look at that, if we look at the World Bank reports across the startup ecosystem, and there's a lot of reports that some of the VCs themselves are generating, generally the SME sector, which is the main sector in Pakistan, it's not the big companies, it's the small and medium have problems to access to finance. And this is one of the biggest kind of problems. And any company to grow needs access to finance. And this is it's a very long conversation on why those problems are. Most of the financing that is available to these companies is debt financing. Debt financing means, to go to banks. Unfortunately, some of their very draconian laws, when it comes to bank financing, you need collateral. And a lot of SMEs don't have collateral. They don't have personal collateral to give against whether they can take that loan. And so already that is a traditional problem.